Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. Today is that day, that time of year, well, I show you guys my fall TBR. I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and I'm so happy the time is here finally. TBR cart is empty. The 24-hour readathon is still coming, guys. I'm so sorry, but some of the clips, I recorded this video specifically yesterday, but I was editing it last night, and I realized that the audio was horrendous. Let's just get started with the books. Not all of them are necessarily fall themed. They're just books I think I'm gonna enjoy the most during fall time. Let's just get started. Let's just get rolling with that. Yeah. The first book I have is Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. I've seen this book all over TikTok for a while now. I know it involves, it's a romance first of all. I know it is a romance with a murder mystery into it, and I love that. I don't know if this is necessarily a rom-com or not, but I'm so excited for this regardless. So, and this is giving fall time, like look at that cover. Like hello? The next book I have is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I gotta admit, I do not know much about this. I was browsing Amazon, I saw that, I'm like, oh, that title sounds familiar. Let me read it. You might have read about it on the synopsis. I know it is about two rival magicians and like, I think it's enemies to lovers basically. Or rivals to lovers, I should say. But other than that, I know nothing about this book. And it just looks like a fun time. It's kind of long, but the chapters are short, so I should be able to read it pretty quickly. I think it's like 500 pages. Yeah, just over 500 pages, so yay! The next one I have is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I've been wanting to read this book for the longest now. I've had this book for over a year, but I've been putting it off for a while now, but I'm finally in the mood to read this. I hope I get to it soon because I've been wanting to read it for a very, very long time. And hopefully I enjoy it. I think this book is going to be a blast. This is a Peter Pan retelling, but it follows Wendy and Captain Hook. And that sounds like a very good time to me. I'm really excited to dive into this book and the rest of the series. The next book is My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I think this book looks really cute, and the only reason I picked it for fall time because it's vampires. You know, it seems like a perfect read during, this season. I do know it's a rom-com, but I've heard it's very silly, and I'm kind of into that, so I kind of love that for me. I don't know anything else. I don't know much about any of these books, to be honest, but regardless, this is another one I'm going to be super excited to dive into and just see what all the fuss is about with this one. Next, I have King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I have two other books by Anna Huang. The first two books in the Twisted series. I didn't read Twisted Love. I started reading Twisted Games for some reason, but even then I didn't even finish it. I do want to get back into that book or those books specifically, but I kind of want to read this one already. This book has been calling my name for a while now. The cover just like really captivating my attention. I don't know much about these books, like I said before. But this one is a billionaire romance, so kind of love that for me. Next, I have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Paulston. This is another romance book, obviously. This book involves a ghostwriter. If you don't know what a ghostwriter is, a ghostwriter is essentially someone who writes for another person and the other person gets all the credit for it. So this ghostwriter falls in love with the ghost, I think is what happens. All of her books have some sort of magical realism element to it. So I think that's really interesting and kind of fun. Next, I have This Is How You Lose a Time War. This is a sci-fi sapphic romance. They're two rival spies and they go through time and space in different time periods and like different settings. So it's really interesting to see. I started reading this book, I want to say earlier this year, but then I DNF'd it. So I kind of want to go back to it. I really enjoyed it. Just wasn't in the right mental headspace for it. But I'm excited to finish this now. The next book I have is You Again by Kate Goldwick. This is a rom-com, but this is giving fall vibes. Like, I specifically put it off. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be cute. I believe it's a When Harry Met Sally retelling, but that's pretty much all I know. That's all I know, love. The next book I have is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I have a couple Ali Hazelwood books. Have I read any of them? Not fully. I didn't have one, but that's because, like I said, not the right headspace. But I think now I am. But I want to read this one this season because this is giving, spooky and fall vibes. This is a paranormal romance, meaning it follows a vampire and a werewolf. Yeah, this book just sounds fun. It sounds like a fun time. There's also a particularly really interesting scene involving a knot. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. The next book I have is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Nothing really screams fall about this book to me, but I've been wanting to finish or continue with the Dreamland Billionaire series. I think now's the time. I recently bought it, so I'm like, let me just add it to here so I could actually read it before putting it off for a very long time. I don't want to put it off, mind you. I really enjoyed the first book. The next book is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is a mafia romance. Have I ever read a mafia romance before? No, I have not. But this book sounds very interesting and super fun. It's about two rival mafia families, a Romeo and Juliet situation, winning two rival families, one person from each family falling in love, that type of vibe. So, fun, cute, savage. I don't know why I said savage. The next book I have is Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot. I picked this book only because it reminded me of the Taylor Swift lyrics from the song Enchanted by Taylor Swift. There's the only reason why I bought this book, to be honest, but when I read the description about it, it's about like this witch and this guy. It's a romantic comedy, so I thought it was really interesting and fun. So I want to know how this book turns out. I haven't really heard much about this book. Next, I have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I bought this book recently too. I can't remember when. I think for Amazon Prime Day. I am excited for this book. I heard this book is emotional, but regardless, I'm excited for it. I don't know much about this book and I kind of want to keep it that way. I just know a lot of people like it, so hopefully I do. The next book I have is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I don't know much about this book at all, to be honest. My friend Gina gave it to me. Like, this is such a fall-time coded book. The next book I have is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Another one by Ashley Poston. This one follows a man and a woman. They're in an apartment, but one lives 7 years in the future, and they end up falling in love. That's what it's about. I don't know how it works. When I read it, I'll let y'all know. Now the first shelf is full. Now it's fall. Next is Unsteady. This is a college hockey romance. That's fun. I have like 3 hockey romance books. One of them I'm currently reading for my 24-hour readathon that's supposed to be coming out on Sunday. Keep a lookout for that. I'm excited for this. This book looks really cute. I've seen a couple people haul it on YouTube, but I haven't heard anyone review it yet. Next up, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. If you don't know what this book is about, why don't you? This book is very popular. This book is about this elite power couple, BJ and Magnolia. They are very toxic to each other. So let's see how this one turns out. Next, it's Love Interest by Claire Gilmore. I've seen Haley Pham read this book on a 24-hour readathon video that she did with Sarah Caroli and Destiny Sidwell. She made it seem like it's a great book, so I was like, is it a great book? Maybe it is. I just don't know. Hopefully, when I read it this season, that it's very good. This is a enemies to lovers workplace romance, so that seems kind of cute, kind of fun. And now we're in the more YA section. So the first one I have is May the Best Man Win. This I got, I believe, earlier this year in January when I was with my friend Gina. I got to sit on a blind date with the book, and this book seemed really fun. This is about this transgender boy and another boy who fall in love. Hopefully I like the book. The next book I have is a bit heavy on the subject matter. The next book is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I've had this book for like over 2 years now. I think it's just time I finally read it. That's why I'm putting it here. But this is such a heavy topic of a book, or at least the subject matter that it discusses. This seems like a very good book, so I hope this book is very good. The next book I have is Queen Bee. This is quite the opposite of the last book. This is a young adult Regency romance. That just sounds great. I don't know much about this book. I saw this at Target when I was shopping for the buy 2 get 1 free sale. That's one of my favorite times to buy books, by the way. The next one I have is 1,000 Broken Pieces by Tilly Cole. I read 1,000 Boy Kisses I want to say February of this year. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very sad and touching. So I hope this book does the same to me. This is a sequel to the first one, but it just follows the main character's little sister from the first book. The main female character's little sister. Hopefully it's good. And the next one I have is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I know another Ali Hazelwood book. This one is gives fall vibes. So it's the only reason why I put this one here instead of the older books that I have by her. And this book just seems cute. Like rivals, chess players who fall in love. Hello? That sounds great. And this is her young adult debut, so I don't think there's any spice in here, but I could be wrong. I haven't even read the book yet. Next I have is Ace of Spades. Now this is a young adult thriller. From what I've read on the synopsis, it's kind of giving Pretty Little Liars, but in a private school. So then I have House of Salt and Sorrow. This is a more of a gothic type of book, gothic thriller. This book just seems really interesting. It follows like this girl and her sisters who live in this house, obviously, but one of them ends up going missing. The main girl is starting to get like dreams about it. Like it seems creepy, but like in a good way, you know, not like scary type of creepy. The next book I have is The Beautiful. I don't know much about this book, like I've said for almost all of these books, but this is a book about vampires and it's a thriller, a thrilling book, I should say, and I think there's a romance in it. So the next book I have is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've been wanting to read this book for years, y'all, for years, but I never read it. I don't know why, but I think it's finally time to read it. This is a very popular book talk, booktube type of book. It is fantasy. There is a romance, but not too much, and it's enemies to lovers from what I've heard. So I'm kind of excited. I am very excited to read this book and just like this series overall, and hopefully I can read them pretty quickly. I think I will, but like, you never know. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's great. Hopefully it's up to the hype I have for it. I'm afraid that it won't because I hype things up way too much in my head. The next book I have is The City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Yeah, so this book came out in 2007. I was only 6 years old then. I'm so excited to read this book. I just want to see what all the fuss is about with this series. The next book I have is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This is a witchy YA fantasy romance. Yeah, need I say more? The next book I have is Mirror Girls. This is a gothic horror. I like gothic horror. I think gothic horror is so interesting and just, you know, just fun to see how it plays out. I don't know much about this book. All I know is that one girl can't really see her reflection because of a family curse that's been set upon them. So the next book is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I bought this book in January when I was with my friend Gina. Hey girl, miss you. She's the one that recommended it, so I was like, okay, slay, I'll read it. It now seems like the perfect time to read it. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it lives up to the hype that Gina has set for it. And if it doesn't, I know where you live, Gina. I think it will, but you know, you never know. Next, I have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is a YA enemies to lovers romance, I believe. I've been wanting to read this book for a very long time. I've read another book by this author, I believe in March, called Sisters of Sword and Song. That book was good. It was really well written. So I'm interested to see how her writing is different from that one to this one. But this book has been hyped up for a very long time. So hopefully I do like it and hopefully it is good. For the first book, it's for this thriller adult section. It's going to be Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I've heard a lot of great things about Lisa Jewell. A lot of great things about this book. All I know is that it follows this mother who lost her daughter for 10 years. She's been missing. So she's just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And that sounds like fun. The next book I have is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I don't know much about this book except I think it follows a wedding party and someone dies. So it is a murder mystery. So let's see how this book plays out. This book is very short. Next, I have two Frida McFadden books. I've been wanting to read both of these books for a while now. The first one is The Housemaid's Secret. I read the first Housemaid book in June, I want to say. So I've been having this since July and I still haven't read it yet. And the next one is The Coworker, which was recommended to me by one of my friends. And yeah, I enjoy Frida McFadden's writing. I think her writing is very fast and quick, but it's not exactly the best writing I've read. Granted, I don't really read thrillers, so I don't know how to judge them. And now we're into the fantasy section. The first one is A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. This is an adult action-y romance. No, not romance. Well, there is a romance, but it's a slow burn type of romance. But this is the first book in the Halfling saga. I don't know much about it. I just thought the cover was cool. Me and Gina bought it together. We were gonna buddy read it. I don't know if we are. If we are, I'm still gonna let her know I'm gonna be reading it so we can read it together. But she reads a book a day and I read it like 3 books a week. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. The next book I have is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a fantasy. I think there is a romance in it, but I don't know much. I don't know much about this book. All I know is that it looks really interesting. I've heard a lot of great things about this book, so I'm really excited to see what the story entails. So the next book I have is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I don't know much about this book either. But regardless, I've seen a Jack Edwards video where he's talking about this book, and I do trust his opinion. He gives very intellectual reader vibes. That isn't really me, but maybe I'm trying to get into that this fall, and fall is when all the intellectuals come out. And next I have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This book just looks really good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. I heard it's cute and fun and good vibes all around. Next I have Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I've read ACOTAR in February, I want to say, and I loved it. I really liked ACOTAR, so I'm excited to dive into this series and see what this is all about. I know there's a romance in this series. I don't know if there's a romance in this book. I'm excited just to see what this book is about. The next two books I have are by the same author. One is a reread, one is completely new to me. Let me talk about the reread first. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read this book in March of last year, and I loved it. I thought the book was phenomenal. I've been dying to reread it for a very long time now, so now's the time for it. If you don't know what the book is about, it basically is a retelling of the story of Achilles, who was this legendary Greek warrior, but it also follows his best friend Patroclus, who happens to be his lover. It's queer, it's epic, and sad in the most heartbreaking way possible, and I love this book so much. I do think it's one of my favorite books ever. I'm just dying to reread this one, and hopefully, I think that book made me cry. I think it's been a while since I read it. Yeah, I think it did. Anyways, the next one is Circe. I've never read this book. I think this book is going to be phenomenal. I have really high hopes for it because The Song of Achilles was a 5 for me personally, so hopefully this one will be too. The next book I have is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series. I've been wanting to read this for a while, but this gives very much fall-coded book. I've heard this one is the best in the series, personally. I do think this might be a 4.5 or almost 5-star prediction for me. The next one I have is Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is the second book in the Plated Prisoner series. I really enjoyed the first book. I read it last month, and hopefully I get to read this maybe next month in September or even sooner. Maybe. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so entertaining and just really quick pace to get through. That's pretty much all I can say about this book. But this one, I don't know what's gonna happen considering how the first one ends. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it is good. The next book is Serpent and the Rings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is a fantasy vampire romance. I do believe this book has some sort of trials involved. That's cool. I love a good trial, especially in a fantasy book. I think it's really good. I did hear this one spicy as well, so I do like that. I'm not gonna lie. The next one I have is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I don't know much about this one. I don't think there's a romance in this book at all, but this book just seems really, really good. Just by the premise of it. I do believe this is an urban fantasy. I believe it involves some sort of crimes families, I think. I don't know much, honestly. I could be totally lying. This book seems really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how this book turns out. So hopefully it's good. The next one is The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang. This book follows two soulmates basically throughout different lifespans continuing to fall for each other. And I thought that sounds so cool and really romantic. And this cover is giving. Look at that. That's so cute. I heard there's some spice, and this book is queer. So that's good. The next book is The Hurricane Wars. This is a Southeast Asia inspired fantasy romance. That's all I know. This book looks cool. I believe it's enemies to lovers. I don't know. But it's a fantasy romance, and I do love a good fantasy romance. Let's see how this one turns out. I don't know much about this book at all. I just looked at the cover and thought, wow, you have to be mine. We've come upon the last book in my fall TBR. And this is a book I've had for almost 2 years now. This is a book that has been spread all over Book Talk and BookTube for a while now. I think since it came out. I've had it for a while. I just never read it. So I think now's the time. And it's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I've never read the book. I have Iron Flame. I never read it either. I think it's time to finally read this book. I have the holiday exclusive version, so it has this cool red with the black sprayed edges. But I've also pre-ordered the third one with the awesome sprayed edges as well. So that is gonna be it for me today, guys. That's it for the fall TBR. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you are new to the channel. I would love to have you. And leave me a comment down below if you've read any of these books. I would love to know what your thoughts were. And let me know what books you're gonna be reading this fall. Yeah, that's it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this fall TBR. I don't know if you can see all of it. There you can. And then stacked. I don't even know how many books are in here. Hold on. It is 50 books. 50 books in my fall TBR. Will I be able to read it all in 3 months? I think I can. I think I can do it. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. I do hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.